Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast. Happy New Year, our first episode of 2016. This is episode 165. We're recording on January 13th. You're watching it on the 14th or later. We've got a ton of things to talk about as the last 3 weeks into the new year wrapped up a bunch of stuff and created some controversy along the way. We'll go through it all, but first, joining me, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man, are the hosts you know, you love, Domino the Cat. I mean, Q, Quinlan Bowers joining us with Domino the Cat. How are you, Q?
I am good. I'm so tired, though. So tired right now.
You had a very busy week last week. We're going to kick off the news with what you were doing last week, and Domino looks wrecked, too. Go ahead and take a nap, kitty. Also on the line, maybe just as tired, I'm not sure, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I ought to go take a nap, and you got Q and Domino. You don't really need me, do you?
Well, you know, Q, Domino, and I, that is three, and that's kind of where I like to stay. And Domino, we've already figured out, is probably better at Smite than most of us.
Yeah, probably.
So maybe Domino is the one we should talk to. But let's get started with the news. All right, Q. Last week, you had a bit of a busy week. You were over at Hi-Rez in Atlanta for the SMITE World Championships, plus Hi-Rez news galore all over the board with Paladins and even some talk of some games gone by. Let's start with the big event itself, the SMITE World Championships. What was it like to be there? Who won it? What happened? What did we miss that we weren't able to see on the live streams?
Well, I mean, the event actually takes place in Marietta, just outside of Atlanta. It's like a 15-minute drive from my house if traffic is good, actually. But I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens on the back end that you obviously don't get to see, where like the press room hangs out. The Hi-Rez is really kind of awesome with just going in and actually being available for everyone who's around. Like they float around constantly. It's not hard to bump into any of the developers or the faces that you know, even just as non-press, and get to hang out with them. But as far as the event itself went, I mean, we went in totally expecting that Cloud9, who was Cognitive Prime and won last year, we're going to probably at least end up in the finals this year. We were expecting Paradigm to end up there with them, and then it would just be a battle. But no, that's not the way it happened. Oh. It was totally the two teams that everybody was like, oh, they're not now. Yeah, they got wiped out by Epsilon and Enemy, and then Epsilon. I mean, it kind of made sense because Epsilon's the one who took out Cloud9. There was no way that Enemy was going to take out the team that took out Cloud9.
So we didn't have upsets in the early goings, but it definitely shook out a bit differently than we anticipated. We expected, the North American teams to kind of dominate, and in all the placing rounds that carried out and was the exact case, but it didn't shake out in the finish, and I would rather have it that way, Jason. Don't give me the upsets in round one, and then I don't know what I'm doing from there on out, because I'm looking at some teams that I may never even have heard of for the last round. Seemed kind of exciting from the way Twitch stream was going down. Did you catch any of it, Jason?
Just a few minutes here and there, because I just watch it and I'm like, okay, guys are doing stuff and killing stuff, and I guess that's a good move. Sure, yeah. And also, I'm still just in mourning over my Vikings over this past weekend, but that's another matter entirely.
Yeah, see, I was going to ask you about your Texans, but then I remembered, yes, you are in Texas, but that's not your team.
Call them Dallas, Cowboys.
I'm not even going to talk about my Steelers. I'm not proud of that game on either side. That was an embarrassment to the sport.
But yeah, I kind of agree with you that you at least want to see the big names get up there to the end area and then have them go at it. And if there's upsets then that's great. That's a great sort of thing. On the other hand, it's kind of neat when an unheralded team wins early in some sort of playoff round. Then they usually get smoked like the next round, 50-0 or whatever the equivalent of is in
Yeah, if that's going to happen, you're right. I want to see a Chinese team upset in round one and then take it all. You know,
this was the thing. So there were two Chinese teams there, and there was also the Australian team, and the Australian team didn't make it very far at all. But it was kind of cute and sad at the same time watching the Chinese press who was there with us in the room. You just felt so bad for them. They flew all the way over here, and we're sitting here going, they had no chance.
oh.
How long do they have? I mean, is it just like an elimination at that point, like a 2 out of 3 match, and if they lose, that's
yeah, well,
it?
it started out, so the first day it was literally one match between all of those teams, and then the next day it was best 2 out of 3, and then for the semifinals and the finals it was best 3 out of 5. But like for the final match, like it wasn't even 3 out of 5. It was just Epsilon took all 3 rounds.
So you don't even have like a round robin or anything early. It's just you can fly out there, spend thousands of dollars, and you're out there for the whole weekend, and you play one game in half an hour, you're done. Is that it, really?
Well, the players are actually, I believe, flown out by Hi-Rez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
those poor press guys.
Yeah, they've won some
press-
type of
press
qualifier to actually earn the right to even come.
Sure.
Right. The press people. I'm actually not sure how theirs did it. It was a little different last year. Like last year, Hi-Rez paid for everybody to come.
Okay.
And this year they did invite a lot less people, but I mean, they may have paid for them to come over. I don't know, because technically SMITE is still in beta in China. So
in China, okay.
they are behind. They don't have all the they don't have everything that we do yet. There's several updates behind as well. So when it finally launches they're going to be caught up, but they're missing. They're not necessarily getting to play against all the same champions and stuff that we are.
Sure.
They don't have access to them. So when they turn around and whip out one that's not available in China, it just kind of throws them for a loop. And
Let me just whip this out.
I mean, they have been playing on the US servers a lot, but it's still, obviously not the same.
Here's my only problem watching these. I'm not a huge MOBA player, but I do enjoy the spectacle of PvP matches, whether it's MOBA or something that Blizzard's doing or whatever. Every time I watch the SMITE World Championships, the League Series, the Dota Invitational, International, I always get this, dude, I could totally do this. I could totally do this. You know what? The only reason I haven't been able to do this is because I just don't play as long as they do. Like I haven't sunk some time. If I sunk some time in, I could totally do this. So then I invariably boot up the game, and it's a travesty within an hour to the point where I'm like, fuck this game, fuck you, Hi-Rez, your game sucks. Every single tournament does that to me, but the SMITE World Championships were kind of exciting this year. Kind of exciting. A little bit of an upset there. But that wasn't the only news coming out of SWC. We got new mobile game stuff. We got some Paladin stuff. We got even some tribe/global agenda talk. What else did we have on deck there, Q?
All right, so yeah, I was starting with their oldest game there. Yeah, they actually came out. It's so hilarious. They did a update for tribes. But what they ended up doing is they worked with, they brought in somebody specifically to work with the community, and like everybody involved, so people who liked original tribes versus the next one, and worked with them to create an update that would make pretty much everyone in the community happy. So the idea behind this wasn't like, oh, we'll put it out and make some more money and stuff like that. It was just, hey guys, we left this in a really awful spot. Let's go ahead and do something to fix it so that it's at least where we're leaving it is a much better place. So when they showed it to us, they and you can find the video online now. But when they showed it to us, it's basically like tribes. It's about fucking time. And then they changed the name to Out of the Blue. So it's the Out of the Blue update. But yeah, it's literally just kind of like we wanted to do something that left it where it wasn't a horrible mess, and make it to where you guys mostly enjoy it, since it's hard to get everyone to agree on exactly the same thing with those. So, I mean, yeah, that was pretty much the purpose of that. And they are still going, they still have a team to do stuff with it. I, doubt it's going to get as much attention as the other games, but they've still got some stuff going with it.
Jason's favorite global agenda got some mention, some honorable mention. And you and I talk about this behind the scenes a lot, Q, that, and Jason, you too, we deal with a remarkable number of publishers. Like, even though we're limited to free-to-play, and we so obviously we don't talk to Blizzard all that much. We talk to them about one or two of their titles here and there. These developers and publishers, we have a remarkable reach of who we talk to. And we're used to getting certain responses from just about every single one of these companies, be it directly their company or a PR company that's working on their behalf. And Hi-Rez has really never played by those rules as far as the way they communicate and what they're willing to say, to the point where sometimes they throw off their own PR people. And I think their global agenda, honesty and candor is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, we were sitting there in because they did a special media day obviously before everything, so we're sitting there and they're presenting everything to us, and I don't remember exactly in what context it was, but I do remember Todd basically going, yeah, global agenda almost killed us.
That's kind of brutal honesty from the CFO of the company.
Or COO.
Oh, he's COO now. I'm sorry. My apologies.
But yeah, he's like, yeah, they almost killed us. And it was just like, that's really because you expect some weird little bit of PR speak, but the way Hi-Rez operates, you can't have that. It just doesn't function right for them. They actually do have PR people now that's outside the company that we deal with. And I was talking to one of the ladies who flew down, and she's just like, they'll tell us something, and then they'll just go ahead and do it, and we'll just be going.
As long as we keep getting paid, I guess, yeah.
Well, that's Hi-Rez. And that's the response for everything. Somebody would say something to me, and I'd be like, yeah, that's just Hi-Rez. Just go.
Jason, you had a point about Hi-Rez and their contact?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, yeah, because they talked about it being, costing them $30 million and, how it almost sunk the company. Now that you mentioned that, too, that's why I was also surprised a couple weeks ago when I talked to the SWTOR devs about how they said that, yeah, the game basically was in a horrible shape and we needed to go free-to-play or it was going to die. So, you're right, we don't usually get that kind of candor from anybody. Now that Smedley's gone.
Yeah, right. Smedley's working on something new. Thanks for MMO Bombers hanging out on Bomb Live Monday, sending us info on the tweets. We're keeping an eye on it, so we'll see what happens. All in all, sounds like a pretty damn awesome convention, Q.
It was. I mean, I wouldn't think of it as a convention. It's definitely an esports event where they had a room with stuff that they were showing off. Buy things. So you're there for the esports. Oh, the other cool thing too, and they're bringing Grover from SMITE into Paladins. So Sylvanas' treant that he rides around on, they're bringing him in, and I've totally been I spent half the weekend trying to talk them into doing a combo ability between Pip and Grover that is, replicates the scene from Guardians of the Galaxy and the Rocket
God.
Bridge shoulders.
We also saw the Japanese gods entering the pantheon of gods. We saw the 3v3 joust mode. I mean, it was a pretty big event for just an esports event.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the beginning of Season 3, so that's where a lot of that was coming from. I do actually have an interview that I'm currently transcribing that is about the Japanese. But it's a Hi-Rez interview. I don't do formal interviews with them at all, so...
so it's more of a thought dropping, maybe.
It's more like question, answer, beer, question, answer, beer.
Well, no, it's Hi! Somebody else was supposed to interview you because Troy was supposed to go help me with this and he got sick. Someone else was supposed to interview you, so I don't actually have any questions. All I wrote was season 3. Start talking.
Awesome. Well, congrats to Hi-Rez. Congrats to all the players in the tournament. Paladins got some talk too. I mean, Paladins is becoming increasingly harder and harder for me to enjoy at the moment, only because I don't particularly like the way this beta is going, where it's like every patch totally revamps everything and throws 2 new things in, and then they take both of those out. It just seems too chaotic, like let's throw a bunch of shit against the wall and see what sticks. But I'm still enjoying the game, and hopefully they'll stop that as we get further along in beta.
Probably as you get further along, but according to them, this is pretty much standard. So
Yeah.
we talked about that too. They just want everybody in as early as possible. This is the stuff where, like Blizzard, you wouldn't even see the game at this point.
Right.
So.
Which sometimes is better. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, maybe I'm just not used to it. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, I at least get my bearings in a beta. You know, it's one of those things where I actually, when the game is officially released, I'm gonna have to, just because I feel bad, go and do another first look. Because most of the time when we get those beta access, when we get alpha, we tend to stay away from doing a first look, in most cases on alphas, unless it's something like what, Jason? Like a Blade and Soul that's been out for 3 or 4 years somewhere else, and it's just coming here in its localization. When we get those new games, we tend not to do a first look on alpha, simply because too much is going to change. But when we hit those closed and open betas, that's when Jason, Troy, Q, I, whoever does the first look, that's when we'll typically hit it. I hit Paladins as soon as the beta started, and the game is totally fucking different now. I mean, it doesn't even look anything like the first look, so it's one of those games I'm going to have to go back when it opens up. Maybe I'm just not used to it. We did get bad news over the holidays, though. Well, I guess we didn't get the bad news.
Somebody got the bad news.
Somebody else got the bad news, and, you know, it seems to be, at least at this moment, all working out, so good on those people. Yeah, Red 5 had issues. Let's start there. Red 5 Studios and Firefall, Jason. So we had Christmas Eve was supposed to be a payday, and they did not get paid. And then it was reported that they were going to pay them on December 30th. And then they came out and said, yeah, we did pay them, but they didn't specify the date. The announcements kind of made you think, no, we paid them on Christmas Eve, when people still continued to say that wasn't the case. Then there was the alleged Facebook page that Red 5 was using to spy on employees that were bitching. This just got out of control real fast within the span of like 7 days, Jason.
Yeah, and as with anything, usually this is the case when you're talking about like the monetization in an MMO. You know, whenever you talk about someone's money in an MMO, that's when they're really going to want to make sure you get everything exactly right. This is like that times 50. You know, it's not just the money from the money you're getting from the game, the money you're actually paying your employees. When you stop doing that, people are like, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with you guys? Why don't you have that money? When is the game going to vanish? Is it going to be tomorrow? You know,
right?
That's something you have to think about. You're going to lay off all your staff. That's going to happen. It probably ballooned out of control, maybe a little more than it should have, you know, on Reddit, or like I said, because the employees themselves were talking about it on Facebook and whatever. Like you say, right now it seems like everything is stabilized again, but you just wonder how much of that is actually being stable as opposed to slapping Band-Aids onto the Titanic or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it even scarier when it's a studio that just a month prior to that had layoffs.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, you know, not long ago was almost run into the ground by Mark Kern. So, you know, you still have that kind of thing going on in your head as well.
It's very weird, and we reached out to Red 5 Studios for comment a couple different times, and this is a company where, I mean, obviously they really cannot be like Hi-Rez on this particular topic as much as we would want them to be. But they've made 2 different statements in effect here. The first one was, Red 5 Studios, Inc. has paid all employees in full. Recent rumors of Red 5 Studios' financial situation are not accurate. Well, the rumor was that you didn't pay your employees on Christmas Eve, and you didn't notify them that they weren't getting paid until they had expected to be paid and weren't. So, to me, yeah, it was pretty accurate. That report was accurate. Firefall is currently operating a limited account beta test in China. Red 5 Studios is encouraged with Peak, and then they go on to talk about the Chinese development of Firefall, just totally bypassing the issue here and talking about how we're continuing to develop content for Firefall. We're planning to synchronize global updates for US and EU, and committed to provide a high-quality interactive experience to gamers all over the world. I think at this time we would have rather heard that they're committed to a high-quality interactive experience with the bank and their employees.
It doesn't be that interactive. There's only one way they have to go.
Right, I guess it doesn't have to be interactive. And then the whole Facebook page and these accusations may or may not be unfounded. They may be total rumor mill mongering. Red 5 didn't specifically comment on that, on the Facebook page being used to stalk employees, but it was just a mess. And then they sent word to us at MMO Bomb about strategic reorganization.
Which never sounds good.
Yeah, especially for a company that had layoffs in November and failed to meet payroll at least once in December. And this came to my email. I saw it on my phone. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And first off, typically, even being in East Coast United States, even the West Coast business-wise is done for the day. You know, I don't really get pressers or things like that. Now, this is a private conversation that I was having, so they sent it directly to me. And I immediately typed it up and threw it up there. Red 5 Studios update strategic reorganization, which in the gaming world queue we automatically read as layoffs. Red 5 Studios Inc. is continuing to undergo reorganization and resource optimization efforts in order to secure our direction to meet the market needs of China and other Asian countries. So you're thinking, all right, they're going to announce some layoffs in this thing again. Then they go on to say the recent reorganization efforts include optimizing development resources and keeping bringing, that's their typo, not mine, keeping bringing in new expertise and skill sets. So it was almost like, hey, we're going to announce that we're reorging, but we also want to put in there that we're continuing to bring people on.
So, okay, so when they say optimization, I do think layoffs.
Absolutely.
And, okay, here's the thing, too, right? It's January. January is or right around this time is the time of year where companies start laying off current employees and hiring new employees that cost less.
Yeah, after this call, or after this show, Jason, I actually have to talk to you. We'll have a little side meeting.
I am unaware of this. Wait, am I being reorganized?
Well, I have found Jason Summer, who will do it for half the price. Now, our support to Firefall and our players are continuous, with content updates and consumer support. As always, Red 5 Studios is committed to providing the best gaming experience. We'd like to extend our gratitude to all of our players for their long-time support. This sucks, and our condolences to anybody that may or may not be impacted by whatever is going on at Red 5. I know we try and bring a little levity to certain topics, and this is one that it's hard to bring levity to without sounding, you know, crass and not caring, and that's certainly not the case. It's just hard to say what is going on because the company is being so mum and PR speaky that maybe it's a bit more of a detriment. If you don't have the money in the bank account, your employees would have been pissed, but they probably would have at least been willing to wait a few days before they post things on Facebook if you would have let them know.
And not told them on Christmas?
Yeah.
Like, who does that? Who waits?
I can think of a company that I used to work, after I left there, I used to work, but I'd heard some bad stories about what happened with payroll when they were getting ready to lay a lot of people off, so...
I'll tell you a story, a layoff story. I once worked for a company. It wasn't gaming related at all. This was many years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. I worked for a company. I was a manager of a specific location store. It was a brick and mortar place, and they were purchased by their biggest competitor. Hung out. It was like, you know, hold out as long as we could, and eventually the buyout just happened, right? So we're absorbed by this new company, and I work for them for, I don't know, 8 or 9 months or whatever, still doing the same job, running the location and the staff that's there. They announce layoffs, and I go into work that day, and I have a stack of 30 people in this region that I have to call and go through their severance packages, if they qualify, explain why they don't, and lay these employees off. It's one of the worst things you would ever feel like you had to do. It sucks. It's not fun, particularly when you're talking about 30 people that you probably know and have interacted with to varying degrees. It's not laying off 700 people in California and you're just the person making the phone call. So I spent 6 hours going through all of these, right? And the regional person comes in and asks if I'm, are you done? I said, yeah, and I'm signing all the final things, and I sent it over. And then the son of a bitch sits down on the other side of the desk and lays me off.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there's... I was so...
the legwork.
Yep. I was so livid. So livid. So yeah, it's some of these companies. I wanted to, but my professionalism wouldn't let me, Jason. But I wrote a nasty worded letter though. I never mailed it. I was like, it's not going to do anything anyway. On the other side of bad news, the Repopulation and the Hero Engine keep punching each other in the mouth verbally across different media networks. Q, what the hell's the deal here?
I have no idea. It's just basically a case, of no, it's their fault, no, it's our fault, no, or not our fault, it's their fault. Back and forth continuously. Oh no, it's really they were supposed to pay us. No, we were. Like, wait, who was supposed to give who money? And it's just a huge freaking mess.
It's bad for the It's worse, I think, for the Repopulation than it is for Hero Engine, obviously.
Oh, right.
I mean, the game isn't out yet. It keeps getting closer and closer. That's another one. I've been debating on a first look for the Repopulation, Jason, for probably a year now.
It's a good thing you've waited.
It is a good thing I've waited. But it's because that's one of those games that, like, their next patch will drop so much and take so much out that it's just like, I don't know what's going to be there by the time we get a first look. So, I mean, I've had access to it for so long now with no NDA, but we want the first looks to be as relevant for as long as they can be in this type of industry. But the Repopulation hurts the most. They're not out of development yet, and currently things are still up and running, but God, the verbal back and forth is just, this really shouldn't be that hard. Either the Repopulation owes you money or they don't. And if they don't, you going out and saying they do or implying they do, which is what their statements did.
Say it was them, but
right.
They just kind of, just used enough language to make it sound like, yeah, these people that have already said stuff about us. But the thing is, too, is it wasn't even necessarily like the Repopulation blaming Hero Engine so much as like some upper tier, investor thing initially, like, oh, well, something happened and they didn't get money and therefore, it
right.
just kind of trickled down to where we're screwed.
We should send Jason in to negotiate.
The part that gets me though a little bit is you look at Hero Engine. If they're owed money, they should try to recoup it. I understand that, and no matter how much it is. The point that I hate is in Hero Engine's or Idea Fabric, that's the company that makes Hero Engine. Their statement, they say, Idea Fabric is a small company, and our funding relies on those royalties and our VCs. Yet, I can look back to about 4 years ago, finding a press release from them saying 5,000 developers have licenses for Hero Engine.
Right.
Star Wars. This is 2 months after SWTOR came out, which uses the Hero Engine. If they have anything remotely like the same deal with SWTOR that they have with Repopulation, they're getting a ton more money from them. And the Repopulation not paying them doesn't mean they can't make payroll or something,
Right.
They should still try to get the money. They're still owed it, sure, but getting the whole, we're just this tiny little company, and if they don't pay us, it's going to be so terrible for us.
For those of you that play SWTOR, by the way, you don't have to worry about this. This whole Hero Engine shutting down and coming back up and shutting down and coming back up. Star Wars: The Old Republic parted ways with the company Hero Engine a long time ago, when they'd modified the Hero Engine so much that it didn't even look like the Hero Engine anymore. So you don't have to worry on the SWTOR front, but Repopulation fans, it's kind of sucked for you lately with service going on and off again sometimes, and this implied media bashing is just bad for everybody. Jason, one near and dear to your heart. You actually dig Marvel Heroes 20. What, did they change it now? Is it going to be
It's 2016? Like, I think in like 2 days, I think the 15th is when it goes to 2016.
David Brevik.
Yeah.
The man himself, the Diablo legend himself, leaves Gazillion. Now, is this good, bad, overall? Is it kind of a neutral thing? What are your thoughts, Jason?
I don't think it's going to have like a huge impact on the company. I think he was there and he was needed to stabilize, especially when it had the early issues. But I think continued development has just been, from what I've talked to and the bits, the interviews and whatever that I've done with the various staff members. I've never interviewed David himself. I've interviewed the various people on the way. Okay.
I'll talk about that in a second.
But yeah, I mean, the various people I talked to, I mean, they're just chugging along. They get their new hero out every month. They do these promotions or whatever based on, because the Marvel movies come out and they'll do like, an Avengers special pack or something like that, or Ant-Man or whatever is most recent. So they've been doing a really good job of just churning along like that. And I don't know that necessarily his, incredibly high level of development is absolutely needed for this kind of thing at this point. So I think it's going to be fine for the game.
You know what I didn't see though, Q? And I saw the Gazillion statements, right? And this is something standard that a company says goodbye to somebody and it's on good terms, and they just kind of say, oh, it's whatever. And they usually say some nice words. I didn't see nice words from Gazillion. I saw a very, very neutral statement. A very, very neutral statement. And it was, I'm trying to find it, both Gazillion and Brevik issue statements. Here's Brevik's statement. Creating Marvel Heroes has been a work of passion for over 6 years. It was my first opportunity to work on a live service product and interact with our amazing community, and it's been one of the best experiences of my life. I'm very proud of all the work our talented team has done together. Though the time has come for me to move on, I'm excited about the future of Marvel Heroes and look forward to what's next from studio director Jeff Lind and the team. And that's
I've got the Gazillion statement.
That's the kind of statement you expect. It's a little, hey, good job, guys. I loved you all. We're parting on good terms. Go ahead and read the Gazillion one.
After 6 years with the company, David Brevik has moved on from CEO of Gazillion to other opportunities. David has played an integral role in the growth and success of Gazillion, most notably leading the development of the acclaimed Marvel Heroes 2015, and we greatly appreciate his many contributions to the game and the community.
Yeah, to me, it was just like so middle of the road. Hey, love you, have fun. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't feel like there's anything bigger behind this, but I don't feel the love either.
It could just be that it was written by random PR person.
Probably.
Never actually even interacted with him.
Here's the thing, though. I interviewed David before. It was an audio interview for MMO Bomb probably about 4 years ago. It was before I left for a while and met Q and Jason at Gamebreaker. I did an audio interview with him, and it was very odd. It was on Skype. It was myself, it was David Brevik, and some PR third-party person that set up the interview. And we played it on a free-to-play cast. If I can think of roughly what number it is and search it out, I'll put a link to that free-to-play cast in the description for this one. But it was prior to Marvel Heroes actually being released, so nobody had really gotten their hands on the game, and all we knew was it was like a Marvel Heroes ARPG. Think Diablo with a Marvel skin. That's really all we knew. So we were trying to get into questioning of what separates it. This is David Brevik, the dude that headed up the team that brought Diablo to life. So this is the guy to ask, what is this game going to do differently? Why should players be excited about this other than it's an ARPG like Diablo with a Marvel skin? And so that was the gist of most of our questions. There's no doubt the guy's a genius. There's no doubt he's very creative. There's no doubt he's good at what he does. But if you listen to the interview, he was kind of a jerk. I mean, he really was. He really was. Like, I think one of the basic questions out there, I was just like, okay, with an overcrowded marketplace, why should players play Marvel Heroes? If you could only tell them one thing, why should new players, why should Jason come and play your game? And his answer was, because it's fun. And I'm like,
well, that's a legit answer. Probably not.
No, just the way he said it was just so smug and so condescending and like, well, And I wanted to follow up with, well, yeah, a lot of games are fun that I don't play, but but it just got to the point where it was like, I want out of this interview. And then it was just a few weeks later when that whole shit blew up between him and Blizzard employees over Diablo 3. And it was like, ugh, maybe I'm not just reading into this a little bit.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, that was a whole Facebook thing where comments were made slamming David. And David,
right.
To be fair, David took kind of the high road on that. When I read the initial comments, I was like, oh shit, the dude I interviewed is going to have a field day with those things. But he kind of took the high road. I saw 1 or 2 interviews where he was asked about it, and he was like, I wish them luck, and I'm sure it's going to be a great game. So he took the high road there. But me, website journalist just asking about his new game is like, he got offended when I thought maybe people would think this was something they've already played before. It was just very bizarre. Very bizarre. But good luck to him in whatever he does. I'm sure he'll be off on his new project. Let's slide over and get started with the bombs. All right, Q, you're up.
I'm gonna have to give an A-bomb to C9 for failing me this week.
What?
Cloud9 totally failed me.
Oh, heartbroken.
Heartbroken. Totally.
At least C9 didn't miss a 27-yard field goal with 30 seconds left. That would have put them in the play.
No, but for some reason, they let Epsilon pick Fenrir again after they just smashed him with him in the round before. So.
All the flavors Jason could have picked, he picked salty. Go ahead, Jason. I can't wait to hear your rationale for this one.
I'm just giving an A-bomb to the whole Triad Wars and all this stuff. And not necessarily because I hate them. As you probably know, they're shutting it down, I think, in like a week. I think the 20th.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
really.
Really.
It's not even making it out of beta.
Yeah, it's not even making it out of beta. And I just kind of give an A-bomb to the whole notion that they thought it would work in the way they had it with their asynchronous, Facebooky style of gameplay. 'Cause, I looked forward to it. I first heard about it. I was like, oh, cool. It sounds like kind of a GTA kind of thing. Going to be online. We're going to get to shoot each other and whatever. It's going to be free to play. It's going to be awesome. And then they were like, nope, it's going to be, you don't ever actually play against or even with another person. And I was just like...
They were really close to MMO Bomb. Like, they liked us. They liked Jason. They liked me. They liked our coverage. We had the MMO Bomb car in Triad Wars in the game and everything. And so we got into that. Jason got into it first. I got into it a few weeks later. But we were in really, really early on that game. Like, abnormally early even for press. And so we played it for a while, and both Jason and I were giving them feedback and everything. And I remember, Jason, the one thing that you and I talked about to them at one point was, what made you guys think you can do this without multiplayer? Because that is what I'm screaming for. I want to go and raid against Jason's base right now, but I don't want to raid against Jason's base while he's offline. I want Jason to be defending and moving, and they were so set on it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it.
And they had an AMA or a couple of AMAs where people asked that same thing, and they're like, oh, this is something we want to do at some point, probably, maybe, if we can, sort of. It's that same sort of. It's nowhere on the schedule, but we'll never say never. Well, now they're saying never. Actually,
that was like H1Z1 in their female character model.
Well, they finally got that in. I think.
Yeah, it's finally in. But
remember all the weather screenshots we got, all the different weather you'd see, snow and everything. Yeah.
Guys, weather.
We like weather. It's snowing here in Pittsburgh. I'm going to give a dub bomb since you two are dropping the negative ones. I'm going to give a dub bomb because Blade and Soul Head Start begins in 48 hours, baby. Already got my client downloaded, already got my character created and my name reserved. If you haven't done that yet, that started January 11th if you had one of the 2 Founders Packs that gave you name reserve rights. And Head Start starts on the 15th. Launch on the 19th. So... dub bomb to Blade and Soul. Looking forward to it.
Q over under on how long before Mike stops playing Blade and Soul. I'm saying 3 weeks.
Oh God.
Is this going to be in a predictions piece?
It might be. He is so hyped for it. I think he's going to go at least 3 weeks.
At least 3 weeks. All right.
Yeah. Maybe 4.
I think I'll give him over a month.
Over a month.
Okay, you're going to give him over a month. All right.
All right. From the viewers, Bratwurst says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to give a dub bomb to Nexon for how they've been doing with their latest games like Dirty Bomb and Ghost in the Shell standalone complex First Assault Online.
Except for that, can we have them just shorten that?
Well, they only refer to it as First Assault. They've just been doing well this season. I mean, look at early access packs for the latter. They're so cheap, with the most expensive one at $30. The cheapest one is $5, by the way. The devs for both games have just taken an active role with communicating with the community, especially with Dirty Bomb. And you know what? I got to agree. Lately, Nexon has been doing okay as far as publishing and cash shop and founders packs things in my book. There hasn't been anything in the last 6 months or so that I've just been like, that's ridiculous. Now, Area Games, on the other hand, not so much. Go ahead, next, Q.
Blah I Don't Care 11 says, "The bomb to Devillion I got playing on Christmas with a gifted CPU and wasn't expecting much and was immediately blown away by how good it is. Gives Path of Exile a run for its money and ELOA for being pretty alright too."
Wow. Path of Exile a run for its money. Wow, that's something.
That's saying a lot.
ELOA is pretty alright.
Yeah, ELOA is
that's pretty alright.
Alright. I don't know. I think some viewers are going to have some backlash on that Path of Exile Devillion comparison. I know they're both in the same kind of genre-esque, but to me they're distinctly different in how I feel when I play them. Jason, go ahead.
All right, Sky Shadow says, "I have 2 bombs. One because it's Christmas, just because it's that part of the year, that the best part of the year. Yay, Christmas." Well, you're a little late now, but okay. You probably sent it in beforehand.
Well, they were on time. We're just late.
Okay, yeah, it's our fault. 2, because I just got over my addiction to Trove after I realized that I'm going in a dungeon, hit the boss, leave for another dungeon, and just uninstall it from my PC. Oh, and I realized that after 800 hours, good lord.
Wow.
The game is nothing short of a simple, stupid grind, but it has dragons. Damn you for exploiting my weakness. Well, what MMO isn't a stupid grind after 800 hours?
With dragons.
If you got 800 hours out of it, you did fine. Go ahead and stop playing. That's fine.
Slash Coon says, yeah, you get 800 hours out of a free-to-play, too, and you're in real good shape.
Even if you spent money on it.
Slash Coon says, A-bomb to Magic Man for seemingly to pick similar comments and lack of variety. I apologize. When I ask a particular question and you all answer the same, though, I really don't have much option. I actually strive to put variety in those things. But last question of the week, you guys all were in the same ballpark. Go ahead, Q. Slash Coon, I'll do better next week. Let me see. What was my question for this week? Okay, yeah, there'll be plenty of variety next week, Slash Coon.
All right, Sailor Naruto 39 says, "I want to give the bomb to Bayonetta, mainly the first one. I saw my brother play a demo on the PS3 in, I think that's supposed to be 2011. And I thought it was amazing. I wanted to get into game designs because of that game. I was told that if I want to get into game design, I got to play other games first, so I started with PC free-to-play games. But at one point I said, fuck it, I'll just play games instead. Recently I bought the second one, and it rejuvenated my love for the series. The game is amazing. Bayonetta is fab as fuck, campy and over the top in all the right ways. It's literally the reason why I'm here. Bayonetta is Bay."
Ugh.
I love you, Sailor Naruto, but
just that word out loud.
Just said Bay, so.
It's the first time I've ever used that word out loud, and at least it was in a quote.
Oh, this show will go down in infamy. It's by far got the most F-bombs out of any free-to-play cast, and it's the only one where someone has said that word. Go ahead, Jason.
Metallica fan 1442 says, "Hey, great to have Q on the show this week, and thanks for doing the show, guys."
Thank you.
There you go. They like the Q. Question of the week last week. Let us know what gaming gift you gave or received this year. What the best gaming gift you gave or received this year was. Elusive X Treasure says, "I have 3 answers for the question of the week." The best gift I've received was my original NES, which I got for Hanukkah when I was 7. I can point to it as the entire reason I fell in love with gaming. I have that memory, too, for both NES and Super Nintendo. The best gift I have given is the backwards-compatible PS3 I got for my husband several years ago. I had to go all across town to find one, since it's the only model at that time that could play PS1, 2, and 3 games. I still have mine, too. But it is well worth it to see the smile on his face, especially since he had no idea I was getting it. That's very cool. The final one had to do with this year and Elder Scrolls Online. I avoided this game like the plague, despite being an avid Elder Scrolls fan. Once they announced fixed classes, I was just done with it. Though I did glance at it once or twice vaguely out of basically morbid curiosity. A couple of days ago, the hubby and I were discussing what to do for the holidays for each other and weighing the options. He came up with Elder Scrolls Online. I stared at him like he had offered me a rotten sandwich. But I can't say no to him, so I obliged him and did some research. Since the game was on sale, I decided that the price tag wasn't too much to finally give it a go. In spite of my misgivings, I was shocked to find that it really did feel like an Elder Scrolls game, and one I could now play alongside my hubby. It might not be the split screen I wanted, but being able to run delves alongside my love makes it priceless. Or be able to ruin delve. If I played Elder Scrolls Online, I would probably get what you are referencing with the word ruin delve.
I think she meant run delves.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what would make more sense to me. Well, it sounds like an awesome holidays there. Awesome.
I keep wanting to think I want to get back into Elder Scrolls Online, but then that damn inventory just keeps...
Yeah, I keep doing that too. It's updated on my computer. I updated it and logged in for their $1 million thing. I logged into a character and then logged back out, but that was it. Go ahead, Jason.
Bratwurst says, to answer my question of the week, I bought a Memory Express custom-built gaming PC for my daughter. Oh, that's excellent.
That's
very
cool.
good for you, Bratwurst.
We're all up for adoption, so
yeah, you know.
If you have a need, go ahead, Q.
Nayabari, best gaming gift given this year, Final Fantasy XIV 60 daytime card, of course. Only give the best for the best.
I agree. Well said. Well said.
So biased.
There's no bias. I just appreciate Final Fantasy XIV for what it is, Jason. Thavarsik says, this year I just very recently got a flaming new PC upgrade. It was a gift from me to me.
Nobody knows you better than you.
And sometimes those are the best. Question of the week next week. What's your 2016 gaming resolution? Let me know what you're going to change about what you game and how you game in 2016. Put it in the comments below. That should be tons of variety for you, Coon. Ha 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 ha!
You know what? The answer is almost always the same.
No, it's not going to be the same. It's like,
It's always the same.
No.
I'm going to clear the pile of shame in my Steam queue.
Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
Floating around in the internet, Quintlin on Twitter.
Easy enough. Mr. Jason Winter.
I am Winter Informal on Twitter.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1, MAGICKMANN1. Or, of course, come on over to MMOBomb.com. Check out all the giveaways, news, videos, and everything we got there. Right now, the comments aren't frickin' working. Trying to figure out what's going on with that. But you can at least come and read the news and comment later. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.